Welcome to another episode of Down the Barrel Podcast with Jimmy and Dino.
And sometimes Jared.
Down the Barrel Podcast is brought to you by the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association
and Wolf.Report. Today we're here with Jared and Dean. And Jared, I'm going to pick on you first. Let's talk about the Minnesota legislative session that's still happening right now.
Yeah, how eventful is that?
Right. I know everybody, I get questions all the time. What's happening? What's going on? Is this still live? Is that still alive? What is still alive on the MDHA front?
Yeah, it's not a whole lot. It's been a whirlwind of a session. It's almost like if you take two opposing teams and you take half of each team and make them make one team, right. Expect them to perform well. You can imagine how that might go.
Yeah. Stalemate.
Right.
You know who we need? We need that guy from that Miracle show. What's his name, the coach? He's from Minnesota.
Herb Brooks.
Yeah,
Hold on. The guy from the Miracle show.
I couldn't remember his name. Please forgive me.
I've never been more disappointed to know a human being.
Herb Brooks. Okay. Was he from Mound or something?
No.
Even I knew that, and I'm not even.
I did know it, but I just couldn't think of it. Okay, so we need Herb Brooks to make these folks work together.
Mm-hmm.
And what was his logic? Do you remember? Let's see how good you are.
What was his logic?
Yeah. To make those people that hated each other work together.
Since you referred to it as a show, I'm assuming you're referring to the movie Miracle.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
like you were alive when they were actually playing the game. I was. Who do you play for?
Is that what you're looking for
exactly.
here?
Exactly. That kind of sentiment.
Yeah. Who do you play for?
Who do you work for?
Yeah. Republicans.
Right.
Yeah.
Democrats.
Skate some laps, right?
Right.
No. I play for the United State of Minnesota.
University of Minnesota. United States.
But it was a similar situation. We had Minnesota and Boston, right?
Right.
They were the rivals.
I'd like you to say Boston correctly, though.
I can't do accents.
Boston.
Is that right?
Go to the bar, get a beer.
Go to the bar, get a beer. We're at Boston.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We'll take your word for it.
I have no idea. I've never been to Boston.
But no, it's a good analogy, right?
It is.
And we do need a Herb Brooks in the state right now to get these folks together and get a shared vision,
work
shared
together.
Goal. Right.
Yeah.
Right. But no, that has not happened. Right. So we still have these very oppositional forces at play. And because of that, not a whole lot has gotten done. But your question was on the MDHA front.
Exactly.
We've got a lot of initiatives that we're pushing for. Like the biggest one that we've been pushing for since the day MDHA started was responsible, sustainable wolf management in the state of Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That went nowhere. Right.
Still waiting on the federal government to delist.
We are still hopeful that will happen soon.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's up to the DNR as to whether or not there will be a season, but there is no movement on the mandatory season upon delisting. But two things that we do still have in play are the elimination of the shotgun zone and then extending the crossbow for all. Right. So the environment committee, both the House and the Senate, they came to an agreement, and included in that agreement is elimination of the shotgun zone, and then giving that over to the counties to decide what they want to do with it. Right. Yep. So it's up to the county if they want to allow rifles or what firearms they want to allow, and then a 1-year extension on the crossbow for all.
Right.
So that has been included in the final environment bill, but that, of course, still has to be voted on.
Right.
And then they're doing this special session, correct?
Yeah. So technically, session should be over by now. It's a budget year. They were not able to come to an agreement on anything
because Herb Brooks wasn't there.
Because Herb Brooks was not there. Mm-hmm. But so, yeah, we will be heading into this special session to try to get a budget agreed upon, finalized. I mean, that's mandatory or else the government shuts down.
Right.
And then there's no beating the Soviets at that point.
What did he just say?
Oh my God.
Then we can't
Jim.
beat the Soviets.
This was your analogy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's
We're
still
jumping
going
back to my analogy. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no beating the Soviets.
Keep up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I appreciate you like sticking with that thing.
Right.
I'm trying, you know,
I know.
you pitched me a softball there.
I did pitch you a softball. I
thought we were talking hockey.
but
Now you're going off to softball.
he's from Kansas. They don't play either.
We play softball.
Do you?
Yeah.
Even the boys?
The old guys. The
old
church
guys.
leagues.
The bar leagues.
Yep.
But yeah, so those two pieces of legislation are still alive. We're hopeful that they will make it through. But we'll see. You know, there's a lot to still accomplish and not a whole lot of time. And the focus right now is the budget.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But those two are still live. We've had lots of questions on them.
Yeah.
And it's really, I mean, they kind of moved those issues to as like a committee or something, didn't they? And put in another bill that wasn't
Well,
to keep them alive.
Yeah. Well, they're coming out of like the environment
Right.
omnibus bill.
Right.
Yeah.
But they are still alive currently.
Currently.
Obviously,
Yeah.
they still need to be voted on, and we all know how that works.
Yes.
Well, we can only hope that it votes in our favor for
Right.
the shotgun illumination and then the extension of that crossbow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for the shotgun specifically, it's way past due.
Right.
The
Yeah.
crossbow extension is not what we were looking for. You know, we were looking for just an elimination of that
Right.
sunset. But another year is
Well,
in this Congress will take it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as MDHA goes, that's a win.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
And, you know, we stopped a lot of legislation as well. You know, there's always
Right.
the,
Oh, yeah.
the anti-2A legislation that's introduced. There's always the wolf protection bills that are introduced, and those were pretty easily
Right.
squashed this year.
Right. And there was a few, how do I say this? Deer disease bills.
CWD specifically.
Yeah, I don't like to say the CWD. That's a four-letter
Dirty word.
Four-letter word. And so I was trying to put a spin on it, but yes, that's what I was going for.
Yeah.
There was a couple, at least one of those I know that was in the play that was put down.
Right.
Oh, wasn't that to benefit the deer farmers?
It was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, any CWD legislation that was introduced this year was rolling back.
Right.
these
That's what it was.
increased regulations that we were able to get passed on the captive cervid industry, with, you know, no evidence to support rolling those measures back.
So basically,
you know?
they were, these things that were brought up were bills technically to roll back the protection on wild deer.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And they did. They pretty much went nowhere.
Nowhere.
They didn't even get committee or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And another one that I'm kind of happy about that didn't go much or go anywhere was the CO one. Putting COs under
sheriff's thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's two reasons. The COs, it would have taken away some of their power, and it would have put more work on sheriffs. I think it's a win-win.
Well, yeah, you know, and they, I don't even know the number these days, but they tell you how many peace officers short in the state of Minnesota.
Right.
And now we're going to put more responsibilities on those we do have.
Right.
So yeah,
And
it's
COs are horribly overworked and great people, and I think their job that they do is amazing.
you're trying to get assassinated, aren't you?
No, I'm actually trying to not get a ticket from a CO someday.
But no, I would echo that. You know, we've got a lot of great COs out there. We actually just got a picture.
Yeah, we
Was that
did.
last night, the night before.
It was last night.
So was that our last episode that we had them on?
Yes.
So Josh in Canada,
Yeah.
they
Katie.
they were out fishing and got checked by a CO,
Right.
and they were wearing their down the barrel hats. So the CO asked what down the barrel was, and hopefully we have a new fan.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to us, Mr. CO, we would love to have you on the podcast.
Right. Because
I've been trying to get a CO on here since we started.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
You haven't been trying that hard. I mean, you got
There's like
you got
secret
Lan
agents.
Tani
You
on.
can't get a hold of these people.
Sometimes they're tough.
you know,
We'll have to make a few more phone
I
calls.
suppose if I called and said like somebody shot a duck in the studio out of season, they might come visit me. But yeah,
Well, and we talked to a few people over the weekend that gave us an idea of, maybe a retired sheriff or a sheriff.
Yeah.
Would be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be neat.
Yeah.
Oh, we can definitely ask Vic.
Why not? Just some good stories and kind of how things are going. And I don't know.
I would guess any sheriff would have some good stories.
Right.
Yeah. As long as I would like to keep it, wildlife specific.
Well, and they have some wildlife related ones. I mean, I had
Definitely.
city cops out to my house.
A lot of people run into the wild when they're being chased.
That's where I'd go.
Exactly.
Right.
That's where I've
I used
gone.
to run into cornfields and fields.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I love to shit on it, my plan is Canada if I ever have the law chasing me.
Yeah.
You have to swim.
Yeah.
Hey, ain't that far if you know a few spots.
That's true. That is true. Yep. So that's
yeah.
what's going on in Minnesota legislation.
Right.
Yeah.
It's how about at the federal level? We're still waiting for them to delist wolves. Right.
We are.
Yes,
And I think we mentioned that earlier, but
we did.
what is the holdup on that?
The Senate.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of other things going on in the world, right?
Right. And then delisting the gray wolves probably down on the list.
One cool thing that happened, of course, this going to the Senate now too, but because it passed the House, was the Hearing Protection Act.
Yeah.
For the
Suppressors.
Yeah. Where is that, do you know?
So it passed the House, and obviously just kind of like the wolf bill, passed the House, so now it's on to the Senate.
Right.
So kind of like the word we've been hearing about the wolf bill as well. It's positive, but
Still got to wait for that vote.
still got to wait for that vote.
Yeah.
Which I think it's a great thing.
I do too.
And why not?
I got ringing in my left ear from firing weapons.
Exactly.
And I would love to not have that happen to anybody else.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like we've said before, it's not like the movies. Sorry.
They're not that quiet, trust
No,
me.
they're not.
But they
they're
do
hearing-
help save your hearing.
They're hearing protection devices.
And when I'm out hunting coyotes, my neighbors will not call the CO on me.
Right.
They can't hear
Exactly.
me shoot legally.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
So-
and I think it was actually Land that brought that up. We get a lot of these more, I don't know if you want to call them urban hunts or more populated areas where there is a WMA or whatever, and during the firearms opener for deer, there's all kinds of people around, and they don't necessarily want to listen to gunshots going off all day long.
Yep.
And yeah, it's not like the movies. You would still hear it.
Yeah.
It's just not obnoxious.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
It's not going to wake you up even.
Right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of federal stuff going on, public lands.
Yeah.
After we got off with land, what was that, a couple weeks ago?
Week ago.
Yeah, a week ago.
Whatever it
And,
was.
a big win for public lands.
Right.
That amendment got stripped from the, what was that thing called?
The big beautiful bill.
The amendment got stripped from that.
The wording that they had in there to sell a bunch of property out in, I think, Utah, Nevada area.
Nevada, yeah.
was pulled from that. And I would like to say that was probably because of us. I think everybody else is claiming, but I would think it's from down the barrel. We had Landtown. We saved that, so thank you. You're welcome.
I would say yes, it was you, but it was also every other conservation organization.
Absolutely.
out there.
BHA did great.
Yeah.
The American Hunters and Anglers.
That
the Teddy Roosevelt one.
Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah.
They did. I've been seeing a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, it
Every
goes
one
to
of
show
them.
how strong this community is, and how ingrained conservation is in the American model of living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we
And-
flex our muscle, people better listen.
Right, and the voice, and so the House stripped the amendment from the bill. So, like AHA is saying, it's a victory, yes, but far from over.
Well, yeah,
The
it's
fight
going to
has
come
just
back. It
begun.
always, even if it's not this administration, it'll be back.
Well, and then the sad part is it still leaves open, as I'm trying to adjust my phone here, the bill still attacks some of the most special places. and special places close to us.
Right in our backyard.
Right.
The boundary waters.
So, I mean, there's still a big fight ahead for public lands, and especially even in Minnesota.
Right.
Because of this bill.
And that's a huge one for us.
And that's where everybody needs to, again, join your conservation group and look into this and call your representatives, your federal representatives on top of that and say, hey, we don't want this to happen.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they get their foot in the door, it's going to keep happening.
Yeah. Share the personal stories. What do public lands mean to you?
Right.
That's, I think, where the biggest impact is.
Oh, for sure. And, so I was looking into some public land stuff. And like when we were on the land, I said, I came from Kansas. We didn't have a lot. I didn't know we didn't have hardly any.
Yeah.
So out of the 50 states with, obviously public lands, Alaska's number one. Duh. Minnesota ranked on right around the 15th, 16th in public lands. Guess where Kansas ranked?
Dead last.
48th.
50th.
Really?
49th and 50th on two different reports. Rhode Island was.
I was going to say
they kind of went back.
Well, they just don't have any land.
Well, exactly.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I thought that was crazy.
That is crazy.
But I mean, just like there's state fishing lands.
So what
there's
you're saying is
walk-in WMAs.
Kansas has 99%
pretty much
private land.
I think it was like 98.6, and then there was some state fishing lands, some federal lands, and then tribal lands.
So I guess when we go to Kansas and hunt, we should feel pretty damn lucky.
Yeah, and
that
they
your
said
family owns property down there.
And they said with Kansas hunting, it was all about. It's all privately owned, so it's about who you know and who you're related to.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why moving up here is a totally different way of hunting. And the public land is just amazing.
Yeah.
The resource we have here in Minnesota, we take it for granted.
Well, and I know that I, in a previous episode, joked about wanting to fire you. I just want you to know that you're one of my most valued.
Oh, I see how it is.
And I cherish our relationship.
Right.
And,
absolutely.
I hope we can be friends forever.
Yeah, and like I've always said, you're pretty much family, Dino. You can marry any of my sisters.
I see how it is.
I don't even care if they're already married.
I'm going to have to go back to those previous episodes and listen to that. See if this is a good enough
that one
apology.
Time you were gone, I apologize. I'm sorry for
I'm not even sure this was a good enough apology.
I gave you my sisters.
They're taken.
Yeah. Hey,
but they don't have land in Kansas, do they?
That's true.
I have a brother who's not married yet. You can have him.
No,
Jake is pretty cool.
He is pretty cool. He is pretty cool, but no, I'm cool. So, do you know how much? Let's go private land in Minnesota.
Well, I kind of know the numbers, so I'm not going to guess. I'm going to
looking for acreage or percentage. 64.
Wow,
close. Actually, 76% is private. Believe it or not.
So I wasn't close. I was 12% off.
You were, but there's a 5% swing, so we'll kind of give you close.
See, my question on that though, do they count private as being paper mill property?
I don't.
That's a good question.
Because it is technically private, but it's open to public use because of tax agreements and stuff.
Right.
And that I couldn't find any good information on. So 24% was public, which is actually 12 million acres.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
And 11% of that is owned by the state, 6% is county managed, 7% federal, and then there's a few other percentages, mix and matched in there.
Right.
But I was still amazed by that. And then, of course, just kind of like, the western states for the public land, obviously the northern part of Minnesota, you look at the public land map that they have, it's pretty much Grand Rapids North.
Right.
For public land.
Well, that makes sense because I think everything, a lot of what we have south of us is WMAs and stuff like that. Up north, we have national state forest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have paper mill property with tax forgiveness that's, accessible to public use.
Yeah. I just thought it was just kind of neat. And, some people would think that, this whole public land thing doesn't affect Minnesota a whole lot other than boundary waters, but it still does.
Yeah.
And a lot of people use, And we know that from being up here and hunting up here, that there's a lot of people that use that 24% public.
Absolutely.
You know, and I did have a figure on Itasca County, and I don't know what I did with it. So, but I do know I looked up Barber County, Kansas, 0%. Okay, it showed 0, but that's not true because we have an 80-acre state fishing lake right there. So that would be public. But otherwise, everything else is privately owned.
So Barber County, there's like no
99.92%.
How do you like waters work in Kansas? Like if you're in the water, are you on public land?
like in rivers.
Right.
Rivers, I'm assuming just kind of like, I guess I'd have to look it up.
But I mean, you can put fences across rivers in Kansas.
You can.
Yeah.
See, in Minnesota, you could never do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Same with Colorado.
Yeah. So we do put fences across the water gaps to keep the cattle in. But I guess that's good. I'm going to have to look into that.
I wonder if you can cross those sections to fish a river.
Because
I know, like Colorado, there's like certain waters. If you're in the water, it's public, right? But there's also parts where you cannot touch river bottom or you're on private.
Really?
So if you're like floating on an inner tube, you're fine. But if
Right.
you stand up, you're now trespassing.
That's weird.
I know.
Yeah.
See, in Minnesota, it's like even the part of the shore is considered technically accessible.
Well, yeah, I think it's what within the floodplain.
Right. The high water mark or something like that. Yeah.
Well, you guys keep
Hey,
talking.
let's get our
look it up.
Dean Google shit.
I don't know which button that is anymore.
Oh, I think it is. Hold on. Let me get to it.
Make him push his own button.
Oh,
Well, yeah.
this is very
He's the only one who knows what he's
There we go.
Dean Google shit.
Kansas waterway laws.
I don't know. Sure.
I kind of like this music.
Pants are coming off.
All right. There are more than 10,000 miles of streams and rivers in Kansas. Would never guess that.
You have one going right to your property.
Yeah, but I don't know. 10,000 miles. That seems like a lot.
That does seem like a lot.
I mean, for Kansas.
So what's the deal? Let's say somebody's floating on that river. Can they cross your fence on that river? Does it say?
They didn't tell me that.
All right.
Okay,
Another wasted edition of Dean Google shit.
So when you
Doesn't
put
tell me nothing.
so when you put that fence across the river, is it an actual gate or is it just straight across fence?
It's a fence.
So they can't open it.
Most streams and rivers in Kansas are privately owned.
Wow. So you technically that's private property.
Yeah.
Too bad there's not fish in there.
The Kansas Water Appropriation Act protects both the people's rights to use. Nope, that doesn't work.
So according to that, you own that section of the Medicine River.
Pretty much, according to non-navigable streams, smaller creeks and streams are usually considered private property extending to the center of the waterway. Walking in a non-navigable creek without the landowner's permission is definitely trespassing.
What about floating?
This means the landowner has the right to control access to the creek itself.
Which you guys obviously put a fence up to keep the cows in.
Right. So, yeah. So I would say that if you put a fence, according to this, unless somebody can correct us, or I do a little bit more digging,
Well, how long have you been putting a fence up there?
for as long as fences have been put up there.
Right. So obviously it's probably illegal.
Right. Well, you have to. You got to keep.
You have one on the other
across
side
the
down the
river?
way?
Yeah. Yeah, there's one on both sides.
Is there? Because I only seen the one down river.
Right.
Up
We never
river,
went up.
Whatever. It was.
We never went to the other one. But yeah.
Right.
Yep. And actually, the
Like down by
the
bridge.
landowner on the other side controls that one. So we have this one, and then there's one
So
more.
private landowners in Kansas have quite a bit of power.
Yeah.
So like in here in Minnesota, I mean, because down there you guys own both sides of that river.
Yep.
In that section.
Yep.
In Minnesota, somebody could float right through there.
And see down
You'd never
there.
be able to put up a fence.
Well, and down there, I don't even know if that would even be considered navigable.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I don't know what they consider navigable.
Because you couldn't. I mean, there's times of the year to where the river goes below the sand bed in the
Right.
Well, and
heat of the day.
I know a lot of the laws go by historically navigable. right?
Yeah.
So like
Okay.
the Colorado River, for example, like once you get pretty far south, that river goes dry
Yep.
these days, but it's still historically navigable.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's still public waterway.
Gotcha.
right? But yeah, I don't know. Water law, you could get 5 PhDs in water law and
Right.
still barely scratch the surface.
Yeah,
It's a
right.
complicated issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here in Minnesota, where we have lots of water, I mean, the law is it's public.
It's public. It's a public resource.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
You know,
And probably the big river, the Arkansas. That's, I guarantee, has different. The Missouri that comes.
Well,
on
that would
top,
be
that's
considered
different.
easily navigable water,
Right.
probably.
Yep. So, yeah.
yeah. I don't know how we got on this subject.
I don't know.
either. I think we were talking about how Dean is a valued friend.
Yes, we love
good
him
buddy.
so much.
Right.
Yeah, I consider him my best friend.
Well, I'm just honored to share a dad with him.
Right. God bless you, Mace.
But we were talking about the win for public lands recently.
Yes.
And how the fight is still going. And
It'll never end.
It will never end.
never end. But this is a tipping point right
It is.
now.
Well, I think it was an assault on public lands that we haven't seen in a few years, probably.
Yeah.
And that's why we have these conservation groups, BHA, MDHA.
Yeah. PF, they did a
PF.
big one.
Right.
NDA.
There's not a bad one out there.
There's not.
Well, I can think of one, but I won't say
They're not a
it.
conservation
They're not a
group.
conservation
Okay.
group.
All right. But anyway, yeah, I'm just saying these groups stepped up
They
Yeah.
did.
and they stepped up hard.
Yeah.
And we
United,
talked
a united front.
right. We talked to one of them last week who is very vocal, and I appreciate what they do.
And I have been following them, and it is awesome what they do.
Yeah, they don't mess around.
I'm impressed.
They don't miss words.
No,
Yeah.
it's so cool.
Mince words. Is that what it is?
Mints.
Mince, yeah,
Is it mince words?
mince, yeah, not mix, mince, like with a
Anyway,
sharp knife.
I appreciate what they do.
Yes,
Yeah. And I'm honored to be a part of what they do. For
sure.
Absolutely. I am
Like a
member.
small part. We're
Right.
one organization in one state, but we're part of this nationwide movement.
Right.
And it's just the coolest thing.
yep,
Well, yeah.
And every single one of our members is part of that movement.
Absolutely. A non-partisan movement to protect public lands.
right. That everybody can use,
Right.
and especially here in Minnesota, when 76% is private, still 24%. A lot of people use our public lands. A lot of people hunt private land, but a lot hunt public.
Well,
And
absolutely.
MDHA members, it's probably pretty even.
I think most people hunt both. I hunt both.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't you? We have so much of it in Minnesota. Why wouldn't you venture out on
You have that opportunity.
It is yours to use.
Right.
Use it.
yeah. And someday I would love to go out west and utilize those public lands more. I did utilize them when I was in Wyoming, and I would love to utilize them
Right.
that much more. And,
I'm just
at least
super appreciative
kids
to
be
use
able
some Kansas land.
it's private, not public.
I know.
All right. We've planted that seed enough.
Just
Right?
saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So
Just know we love you, Dean. And we would never say anything bad about you.
yeah. Yeah.
Unless you're not here, then we're going to
Right. Exactly. And then your private land just disappears.
let's change up some subjects here.
What do we got coming up? Oh, hey,
What?
trap shoot coming up.
Yes, in Alexandria.
Yes,
The big trap shoot.
starts the 9th.
Right. This
It
is the
does
high
start the
school state
USA
championship.
Clay Target League, Minnesota State High School
Right.
Trap Championship.
And MDHA will have a booth there.
Yeah,
as
we will.
We do every year.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah. So come by, check it out. We got some cool things going on this year.
Well, and we had the trap shoot folks on here,
We did.
John and
John.
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 Remind me, is it 8,000 kids participating?
I feel like it's more.
I want to say it was 10.
10.
It was that 8 to 10. I mean,
Yeah.
it does fluctuate a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's
It's a lot of kids, getting into
man.
the shooting sports.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It really is.
We're honored to be a part of that. platinum sponsor.
Yes.
of that event for the last however many years.
As long as I've been here, and probably a few extras.
Yeah, it's a great event, and so yeah, we'll be in Alexandria for 10 days.
When will we actually be there, though?
Like the three of us.
Will we ever be there together?
I think both weekends.
Both weekends we'll be there?
Yeah, for sure. Essentially the first day or two.
Which is what day?
The 9th.
Which is what day?
Monday.
Okay, so we'll be there Monday.
Yep. And then that last weekend, or the last days of it, the 16th and 17th.
We will be there the 9th, 16th, and 17th.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to meet this group of interesting fellers,
Yes.
come on the
9th,
9th.
16th or 17th.
16th or
For sure, 9th and 17th for sure.
And like Dean said, we do have some good stuff happening, some fun stuff happening there. So come on down.
Yeah. On top of that, I do know us, DTB, we're going to be down with APF.
That's right.
Just before we go to the trap shoot.
That's
we'll be in Alexandria. So we're going to do a on location podcast with them. So it'll be our first. Nah, not first. It'll be our second on location.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
With APF.
We're going to get to shoot some guns.
I'm hoping.
God,
so.
it would be
I'm hoping.
crazy not to shoot guns.
Right.
Although
If we're not shooting guns, I'm not coming. All right. And you can tell APF that.
Right. I'll shoot an email. Maybe we'll get lucky and they listen to us.
Maybe we should just bring our own guns. I do have
The APF guns.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so that'll be kind of cool. So I'm looking forward to that too. And on top of that, we've got something really cool coming up. Jimmy can talk more about
I'm
that.
guessing you're talking about sweepstakes.
Yeah.
Yes. Starting next week, which I believe is June already.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll be starting on
Sunday
or
technically, but we're going to start pushing it next week. Our sweepstakes, our Huntin Haulin Sweepstakes. We did it last year. We gave away a Polaris side-by-side and a flow trailer. This year, we went all out.
All out.
All out. We got us.
Well, we got some pretty kick-ass sponsors this year.
Oh,
we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we have Argo.
Boom.
Boom.
The big word,
Argo.
Argo.
And Flow is back.
Yes.
Flow is awesome. They make the best trailers.
Oh, that trailer we got this year's.
I mean, this is
last year's trailer
as
was
far as I
cool.
know, this is like one of their top of the line trailers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Last year's trailer was cool. But this
Trailer
one's
breaks.
Oh, yeah. This thing is gorgeous.
way better.
This
one's
is an amazing trailer. But as far as Argo goes, we are giving away a brand new 2025 Frontier Scout 700 8x8.
This thing is freaking
It's
awesome.
in camo. It's got a winch. It hauls basically anything.
It floats.
It floats.
It goes anywhere.
Right. And this thing is amazing. And you can enter this starting next week. And you know you want to.
Why wouldn't you?
Even if you shoot small deer, this thing will haul it out.
This thing, if you shoot deer in the swamp, okay,
You can
let's
shoot
put
a
it this
deer
way.
across a lake.
If you ever wanted, but you can't because you've got a small four-wheeler or a small side-by-side, you can't get back through that swamp to get to those swamp bucks because there's a high piece of ground.
Now there's no excuse.
No excuse.
Well, let me put it this way. You're sitting home. It's springtime. You're thinking, I really want a boat.
Yeah.
But you know what? I really want to hunt this fall. I need a four-wheeler.
Yep.
Why not get one that does everything? You can
right.
take this thing out fishing, and you're going to see some footage later of us fishing in this thing, catching a huge northern.
That's right. We haven't caught it yet.
Right.
We're gonna.
But
that's the plan.
I brought it on
It's
my
in the
turkey
script.
hunt. I brought it on my turkey
You
hunt.
did. You did.
Not the one we're giving away. We have a different one.
Right. You're going to get a brand new one.
Yeah, the winner will get a brand new,
Straight from Argo.
straight from Argo.
Yeah, shipped to the dealer of their choosing.
Of your
They
choosing
gave
in
us
Minnesota.
one to play around with and bring to sports shows and the trap shoot and all of that. So we'll have the Argo there, so you can come see it. We'll even let you sit inside.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keys won't be in it, but
it might be on the trailer.
It might be on
able to.
trailer.
Yeah.
all right,
Might be a safety issue.
yeah.
So
All right. But this thing's amazing. I brought it turkey hunting, got me back where I needed to go, got me a nice tom. We're going to bring it fishing. We're going to get some deer with it this fall.
Yeah. And this thing will haul anything. I mean, because I think it's rated for 6 people
On land.
on land, four people on water.
Yep.
Now, tell me another side-by-side or four-wheeler is rated anywhere near that. This thing will go anywhere.
Yeah, no, a tank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And in the MDHA Huntin Haulin Sweepstakes, you can win this with this trailer.
That's
Yes.
right.
This is a huge package.
Right. This trailer is probably, like I said, it's got to be top of the line.
Yeah, I think it's their
Tandem
number
axle,
one seller.
brakes. It's an amazing trailer. Amazing
Sidewalls,
XTV.
everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's awesome. This,
We went all out with some great sponsors this
yeah,
year.
you can't pass this up. You
Right.
shouldn't. If you do pass it up, you just ignorant.
Ignorant.
I mean, and then as we're doing this, so we start it June 1st.
June 1st.
And it goes till March.
Our last day will be the Deer and Turkey Classic Sunday.
All right, so in March. Yep.
Yeah. So
26.
in March 2026,
26, yep.
we'll be giving it away the following week after that.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. So, and within that time period, we're doing like mini giveaways as well.
Yes,
right?
we're going to do as many as we possibly can. What we're calling them is bonus giveaways.
Okay.
So basically, if you enter during, let's say, June, July, you're going to get entered not only in the main sweepstakes to win that Argo and that flow trailer, you're going to get entered into whatever we're giving away in that time frame. Like I know for a fact, like from June 1st to July 31st, we're giving away an Argo 4500i generator.
That thing is so cool.
It's a nice generator. So when you enter during that time frame, you can win twice.
Yeah.
Right. And then during the trap shoot, we're going to run a special to where if you enter during the trap shoot days, the 9th to the 17th, you can win a Maluna cooler,
Right.
40-quart Maluna cooler, which is made in Baxter, Minnesota.
There you go.
Or the generator or the Argo.
There you go. So you get entered to all three opportunities, all three chances.
Well, and I heard a rumor about maybe a crossbow at some point.
Yeah.
Yes. There's going to be a Killer Instinct crossbow eventually too. And so basically, I mean, if you want to enter right away to win that generator, do it. But we're going to have great prizes throughout, bonus giveaways throughout. So you can win a bunch of times.
Yep.
So enter multiple times. You can win multiple prizes. And at the end of this thing, you can win the big prize, which is the Argo and the flow trailer.
Yeah. That would be so cool.
But speaking of Argo, we went up and visited the Argo folks up in Thief River Falls, Minnesota.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
We've been keeping this.
Yeah. And we got to go out and take a fun ride on the Argo Sasquatch. Now, how cool is that, guys?
The thing was so badass. I want one.
Yeah, my kid hates me because he saw pictures. And
Right.
he didn't get to come.
That thing it's like a Ferrari that can go anywhere.
I don't even know if
would
I'd call it
not
a Ferrari.
Call it a Ferrari.
I mean, I'm thinking about, okay, maybe a Rolls Royce. The interior was so comfortable.
it was a luxurious
go anywhere thing.
Mars rover.
I know.
Like it was.
The seats were comfortable and it
Right.
had screens in it, a steering wheel.
Yeah, I mean, we got to take it up this really steep incline up to the top where there was this tiny little platform, do a little zero turn and come back down the other side. And I mean, that thing, also an amphibious vehicle in and out of water. Like that thing is amazing.
Right.
It's so cool.
And if anyone out there watches Ice Road Truckers, apparently this Argo Sasquatch is what they use to like get the road ready before it's ready for plows and trucks.
There's
it's
nothing
crazy.
to worry about. You drive that thing out there, you fall in, you drive out.
Yeah, and they were measuring thickness of ice and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about going and either starting a company or working for a company that has one of these.
Yeah, I just want to have
Or
one.
I just got to
I
figure
just
out a way
told you
how
I'm not going to fire you, and
Okay.
now you're trying to quit.
Okay, so we got to figure out how we can
MDHA
get
needs
one.
one.
Of these.
We do need to get one. I know a guy.
But like I said, Argo makes that sweet Sasquatch. They make these 6x6s and 8x8s.
Yep.
They also make side-by-sides
Yes,
and four-wheelers now.
Yep.
I mean, and we got to see that 1000 Magnum in action not too long ago.
Yeah, I
Last
was
week or something.
impressed.
That thing is impressive.
I
would not hesitate to buy it.
was driving the Argo, and I was like, man, I don't know how they're going to make it through this. We're barely making it through.
Yeah.
I mean, we made it. It wasn't
With
barely,
the 8x8.
Yeah. And it's like, how are they going to, we got to turn around so we can winch him out. 10 seconds later, here comes,
It was like a joke. Didn't even spin a tire. Yeah.
No, I think it was pretty
So we're in an amphibious 8x8, and we're worried about the guys behind us in the Argo 1000 Magnum, and they just drive along like it's nothing.
Yep. Yeah. Didn't even
I was impressed.
Very impressed. They make a quality product.
They do.
And they just took over Articat.
They did.
So I don't
some
know
form, fashion, or way.
What's in the future
Some way
for
how it
that,
works.
Right.
You know,
I don't know how they're going to work that, but if the quality is what Argo makes, I think Articat is in great hands.
yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, they've been great to work with. Flo's been great to work with on this. So I'm excited to do
It's a
another
great
sweepstakes.
I wish I could enter because this would be the one I'd want.
I know. It sucks.
This Argo 8x8 and this Cargo Max trailer from Flo.
Guess I could enter it as, Gene Jacobs.
Gene Jacobs is going to win this.
Oh man, now we're gonna have a Gene Jacobs win, and everyone's gonna think he cheated.
Well, either way, you're going to hear a lot about this going forward here from here on out.
Yep.
This is the first we've really talked about it.
It is.
So starting next week, we're going to be pushing it everywhere, and you're going to see this Argo. You're going to see us in Argo. You're going to see this Flo Cargo Max trailer. You're going to want to win it. So just get entered and enter every month, and you can win probably new stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, and
it's
the great
almost
thing,
like one of those calendar raffle things.
Right.
you know?
close. Yeah.
It is because there's a big prize, a huge $30,000 prize at the end of this Argo and this Flo trailer. But throughout, we're going to be giving away other stuff, generators, crossbows, and coolers, and things that are coming in.
Date nights with Dino.
Targets.
Well,
Which is
we're going to have to give
target.
that away. But still, there's going to be you could win multiple times. So
Yeah.
check us out. Enter as many times as you want.
It'd be
and you're going to
great.
win all kinds of good stuff.
And again, supports a good cause, and the money stays here.
Yeah,
Right.
It doesn't go anywhere else.
Right.
It stays in Minnesota.
back to public lands. It goes to Minnesota public lands.
And hunting. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
Because I think, what do we say now? Anywhere the hunt takes you.
Ooh, yeah.
That's what we're saying now for
right.
this
There you go.
sweepstakes.
There we go.
And that's Corey approved.
Anywhere the hunt takes you. I dig it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited. The thing, it's
Yeah, you're gonna hear about it and see it. It's eventually gonna be on billboards. Hopefully, we're at another wild game. With
we're
this
just
thing.
gonna shove it down your throats until you buy, and keep buying.
until we can give you something. We want you to win,
Right.
whether it be a generator, a crossbow, or whatever else we get to give
If
away.
you don't win, try again.
Right.
Keep buying.
Right, that's the whole
Yeah, it
point.
increases your chances.
Absolutely. You buy in June, July. You buy in August, September. You're gonna win something.
It'd be sweet.
Well, and even if you don't win, you do.
You do.
Because again,
It's a
that
win-win.
money is going back to Minnesota Habitat,
Right.
Youth education.
Absolutely.
Speaking of youth education, along with the trap shoot, the Four Corn camps are starting up soon, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
We're getting all this stuff out for them, so those will be gearing up here pretty quick. Looks like numbers are good, so excited about that. And then let's see, coming up in a couple weeks. Actually, was it not this weekend, but
June 27th.
Right?
June
yeah,
7th.
yeah,
June
the
7th.
7th. We've got archery shoot.
Yeah.
Here in Grand
Grand
Rapids.
Rapids
shoot.
Archers. Yeah, the 3D shoot. So
It's another fundraiser.
yeah, so that'd be cool. I'm excited
It was a
about
hoot last time.
Last one
I had a
was
good time.
Yeah, really good turnout.
Mm-hmm.
Some great
Yeah.
prizes there as well.
Right.
that. Yeah, so hopefully they'll have a good turnout again, and obviously DTB will be there and Mingo
Right.
will be there, so that'll be
So
good.
June 7th, Itasca Archery fundraiser for the Grand Rapids Archers.
Yes,
Just come down and shoot, grab a burger, say hi. That's all you got to do.
I think there
Enter
might
the
even
sweepstakes.
enter
Enter the sweepstakes because we will be live then. Mhm.
There might even be a challenge shoot with us around as well.
Yeah, and the dead nuts target.
Yeah, and the dead nuts targets.
Yeah,
So,
I heard about that. Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to look into that a little bit more. Hopefully, we'll know before we get there.
Hopefully, Jesse comes up with something exciting.
Yeah,
Hear that, Jesse? Come up with something exciting.
but otherwise, I don't know. I think that pretty well wraps it up for this one, huh, boys?
I think so.
If you say so, my good buddy Dean. And,
I got all my notes
best
checked.
friends.
Yeah, we love you and we value your opinion on everything.
But more so, than you, your dad, because
Yeah.
I think the land's still in his name.
Yeah. I have no plans for my children, but if I ever have another child, I will name it Dean.
And I just want to say, just in case, just to cover my bases, Uncle Mike, thank you.
I see how it is. Well, before it gets too deep and I have to roll my pant legs up here and start looking like an Okie, we should probably end it. So
That brings me to another question, though.
Oh, yeah.
Did you look up what the public land is in Oklahoma?
I did not. I didn't write it down, but I did.
How is it fair compared to Kansas? I know you guys have a Minnesota, Wisconsin kind of thing going.
Well, it's different because there's a lot of tribal lands.
Right.
I suppose. But that's not considered public, is it?
They do consider it because...
So it's considered public down there?
Yeah, because even in the Minnesota stuff, there is a percentage that counts as tribal lands that takes away from the private.
Huh.
So
that's interesting.
So that takes away from the private land. So it's not technically public, but it takes away from your private percentages. So
I was just curious. So since you brought up Oklahoma,
I wish I would have taken a picture of it.
Sounds like a whole bunch of excuses.
No. I just want to say right now, Kansas is way better than Oklahoma.
You're damn right.
So much better.
You're damn right.
Damn right. Just damn right.
Oklahoma. But you know why Kansas is so windy?
Yeah,
I know.
Oklahoma blows
3 times.
Exactly.
Oklahoma blows and Nebraska sucks.
There you go. Because it's always a south wind.
That's right. That's right. So I think that'll do it for this week. Next week, we got a big guest coming up. So make sure you check back to find out who that is.
Sounds good.
I'm looking forward to finding out myself.
Me too. Tune in until next time.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association has been building our hunting and conservation legacy over the past 40 plus years through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation in Minnesota for Minnesota.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and Wolf Dot Report proudly sponsor this podcast. However, please note that the opinions, topics, and guests featured may not necessarily align with the views, beliefs, goals, or mission of our sponsors.